Hi everyone, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are taking a look at the brand new Friedman IRJ Jakey Lee signature twin channel valve preamp pedal. So today we're taking a look at the brand new IRJ Jakey Lee signature valve preamp pedal from Friedman. So following the success of the IRX, we saw the IRD, and now we see the release of the IRJ, which is the Jakey Lee signature model. Now, Jakey Lee is without a doubt one of the greats to emerge from the 80s. Started out playing guitar for Ozzy Osbourne. He was on Bark at the Moon and The Ultimate Sin before his relationship with the Osbournes ended, which is obviously shrouded with controversy. He worked with his own bands, Badlands, in the late 80s and into the 90s. More recently, Red Dragon Cartel. So let's take a look at the layout of the pedal. As I said, this is a valve preamp pedal. So we have two high voltage 12 AX7s within the unit. So you get that lovely rich valve tone. There is no preamp modeling going on. The only modeling, as I said, is in the power stage. This is very much based on Jake's signature amps. There was a 100-watt head and there is a 20-watt head. So channel 1 is, I believe, Dave Friedman's take on a Plexi. And channel 2 is Dave Friedman's take on a JCM 800. And that has quite a lot going on in terms of how much meat you can add to the tone. Jakey Lee is renowned for using very muscular, modified Marshall JCM 800s and other Marshall amplifiers. So that's very much his sound. Okay, so looking at the layout of the pedal, the dials are the same on both of the channels. We have the boost volume. We'll talk about the boost in a moment. We have the master volume, treble, middle, and bass, and then we have the gain control. That's exactly the same on channel 2. We have the IR switch, which the unit comes loaded with 3 IRs. I believe you have 2 75 watt Celestion IRs and an EV. I believe that's what's that's preloaded. And you can select different IRs depending on what channels. You can have one IR on one channel, another IR on the other channel. But when you plug it in to the software, there is a total of 18 IRs that come with the unit. And also you can load your own IRs. So you're not stuck with the IRs that are preloaded on the unit. Now, we also have a 3-position bright switch. Now, I got a little bit confused with the bright switch. In the manual, it says a 3-position bright switch at the front, and then later on it says 2-position. But as far as I can gather, I watched some videos about the 100-watt head. And what you had there was when the bright switch was in the middle, that was on the kind of default setting. And then one side was bright and the other side was even brighter. So in the manual, it says it's like a bright, tight switch. So I think the brightest setting, it boosts some upper mid-range and sort of tightens up the low end. So that's the bright switch. Now, moving on to the second channel. The second channel, the controls are exactly the same. But then we have an additional overdrive switch. So you can click that in to get an overdrive or gain boost, should I say. So again, that's a little bit like hot rodding the JCM 800, or at least that's how I see it. Now, moving on to the boost. The boost is very interesting. The IRX has a boost on it, but the boost on this pedal is very different. Basically, you've got 2 tube screamer style pedals built into it, which is really cool. On the side, we have 2 little switches. They have like a little groove in the middle of them. You can put a guitar pick in or a little screwdriver or your fingernail and turn them. So they won't move when you put them into a gig bag or however you carry your pedals around. Obviously, if you've got it on a board, it's not going to get knocked or anything. And you have a volume control and a tone control. Now, there is a lot of flexibility there with those 2 controls. Basically, the volume control is determining how much additional gain that you are going to be pushing into the front of the pedal, and then the tone control speaks for itself. On the end here, we have a boost level control. So what you can actually do is set the level higher so that when you kick in the boost with the boost foot switch, you will get some additional tone or tone boost. You'll get some extra gain and you'll get a volume boost. So if you look at it in terms of how the pedal is laid out, it's almost like having a 4-channel amp. You know, you've got your channel 1, channel 2, and then you can have some additional tone and gain on each channel by kicking in, and also volume boost by kicking in the boost channel. Let's have a look at the rear panel. We've got the guitar input. We've got a send and return, so you can run effects into the effects loop. We have the emulated output, if you like, the IR output. You can also utilize the send and return for other applications. You can be sending your signal into the power stage of an amplifier whilst also sending the output direct with the IRs on. There's lots of different connections that you can achieve with this unit. We've also got a headphone output for silent practice. We've got a Midi connection there as well, so you can control it with another device. You can store up to 128 presets. And we've also got a USB for connecting to the computer. As I said, you don't really want to rely on that. The idea of this is just to have a unit where you're turning the controls and flicking the switches, getting you away from that whole sort of menus and drop downs and all that stuff. But plugging it in enables you to organize your IRs, what IRs you want on the slots, or if you want to add your own IRs, and also setting up the different. There's some different controls for the power amp stage. So I think there's a presence and a thump, but we'll take a look at that when we connect it to the computer. So hopefully the track at the front end of this video gave you an idea of how the unit performs in a recording. There is a little bit of post-production going on. I'm always very honest about that. Adding some delay and some reverb, plus there was some double tracking going on in places. But other than that, it was pretty minimal. You're just really hearing the preamp just going straight into my audio interface and capturing the sound of the preamp. It's just such a great sounding preamp. Let's just have a listen to some isolated tones. So we are on channel 1. Okay, we can drop down the treble control. Push that up. Let's have a listen. So you can hear that gets quite bright. Mid-range, we can scoop or boost the mid-range. And the bass, roll off the bottom end. And then push the bottom end. Okay, you can hear it starts to get a nice little bit of thud to it. And then we got the gain control. We can drop that. Okay, you can get nice clean tones out of this. Actually, while we're on the lower gain settings before we start to push the drive, let's have a listen to the bright switch. So at the moment we're in the middle. If I push that down, you can hear it's got brighter. Okay, back to the middle position. Okay, and then in the top position. Okay, so it sounds like the bottom position is very much the brighter out of the three positions. Okay, and then up. Check my ears aren't, yeah. And then in the middle, that's the darkest setting. Once you start to push the gain up and you get past a certain point, the bright switch isn't quite as noticeable. Let's back off some of the treble, push the low end a bit. That's a really, really cool sound. It's got that classic Marshall Plexi sound to it. Let's experiment with that bright switch. Push it all the way down. That's nice. In the middle. I quite like it on that bottom setting, actually. I think that sounds really nice. Guys, have a listen to some of the IRs. That's the first selected IR. Okay, go up to the next one. That was a little darker, a little richer sounding. I like that one in the middle. I think that sounds really cool. Okay, let's back the gain down ever so slightly and let's kick in the boost. Now, with the boost, so I'm not sort of fiddling around too much with it, I've just set the tone control at around 3 o'clock and I've pushed the gain or the volume just past 12 o'clock, maybe about 1 to 2 o'clock, so you get a little bit of a gain boost. But then what we can do is push the level up. So here's the... and then, oh, that's just channel 1. And, oh, move the pedal. Let's push in the boost. So you can hear that we've had a level boost. The tone has changed ever so slightly because I've pushed the tone on the boost circuit and obviously just pushing up the volume. Okay, now let's take a look at channel 2. Although the controls are pretty much the same with the exception of the switchable gain control, this channel is based a little bit more on a hot-rodded JCM 800, or at least that's, to my ears, that's what it is, and sort of judging by what the original Jakey Lee 100-watt head, what the channels on that were based on. So here we have channel 1, and now on to channel 2. Straight away you can hear there's a very different tonality to it. Okay, more gain straight away. Let's have a look at the EQ. Different IRs. That's slot number 1. Slot number 2. Slot number 3. Okay, now let's have a listen to the gain control. Let's switch that in. Let's have a listen to the bright switching. That's really nice. I like that a lot. Let's have a listen to the IR slot 3. Okay, what about if we kick in the boost now? This is going to get, whoa, really hot. Okay, so I've connected the IRJ to the Mac just so you can take a look at the control surface. Although I say a control surface, it's really to set up the Midi, the power amp stage, which is where the modeling is. None of these controls have anything to do with Midi. That is all analog. But there's just some power amp section stuff which is modeled. Plus you can set up your presets as well as organize your IRs. While we're on the subject of IRs, I made a little bit of a schoolboy error. I got the IRs in the wrong order. So these ones are the 75s. And this is a different one. I can't remember what the exact names are. There's loads of information on each IR. And then you have the EV at the bottom there. I'm pushing the boost control up. Should have really trusted my ears instead of my memory. But yeah, so just to clear that up because I said the wrong IR a couple of times earlier on. So sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to grab my glasses so I can see exactly what is going on here. So you've got a total of 128 presets that you can save. And there's a lot of things that you can save. You can save when you're operating the IRJ from an external Midi board or with another effects unit, a multi-effects unit. Then you can have it so it's switching channels, it's switching the boost on and off. It's changing the IRs depending on what preset you are on. It will also mute the effects loop. But the main sort of reason I wanted to plug this in was just to take a look at the different power stage options that we have. So you've got presence control. If I drop that down, we got this setting. Let's just back down the gain. Like I said, the rotary controls are not affected at all by Midi. You cannot store those. Okay, it's just the functionality, the IRs, the kind of digital side, the switching. Okay, there's one presence setting in the middle, and then the all the way over. Okay, you can hear it getting brighter, adding a little bit of sizzle to the power stage. Then we have thump, so all the way to the left. That's ridiculous. You can hear that low end. It's got so much weight, and that's the power amp modeling. And then down here, we've got a low cut. Here we have. So that's just controlling the low ends. Now, something else that I thought might interest you. Let's go on to, let's see if I can do this without dropping everything. Let's go on to channel 1. Now, if I click on the arrow here, you can see that this is the, on the middle. Actually, let's go up here. There we go. So we're on slot number 1, IR slot number 1. If I click that arrow, then up here, if I select there, you can see all the different IRs. So it's possible for you to select IRs that come with it. There are alternative IRs that do come with this unit, and or you can load your own IRs. Maybe you've got your own library. These are Ohm Hammer IRs, so they're really, really good IRs. Let's just have a listen to a vintage 30. Just change the presence control. How about that thump? Okay, so there you have it, the IRJ from Friedman. I'm not much of a knob twiddler sort of person on video. I never really know what to play. I always feel a little bit uncomfortable doing this part. So hopefully the track at the front end sort of showed off the capabilities. In terms of the sounds and the features, for me, these pedals are fantastic. As I said, I absolutely love the IRX. That's become such an important part of my workflow. And I know that the IRJ is going to do the same, or be the same for me, because it has such a different sound. Whereas the IRX has that kind of classic Friedman sound, that big fat sound to it. This is a little bit more like those Marshall sounds. You know, obviously you can push the gain, you can do all of that lovely stuff, but it has a very different voicing to the IRX. Something I love about this as well is for portability, you can just connect this with an external effects unit. You can go into the send and return, but I'd urge you to try sending out from the speaker output, from the emulated out, the IR out, go into your effects unit, blend your effects on in stereo, and then come out your effects unit in stereo. It sounds incredible. And that's what I've done with the H90. It's such a fantastic tone. And this is just a great alternative to the IRX. It's a different voicing. And of course, it's the Jakey Lee model, so it's incredibly cool. Anyway, that's it from me. Click the link in the description if you want to have some more information. And yeah, if you don't already, please subscribe. That's it from me. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.